Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, for those of us who really appreciate the craft behind an exceptional spirit, there's something special about finding an anomaly, a product that kind of defies the norm, but still feels deeply rooted in tradition. And today, we're doing exactly that with Hazelburn. It's a truly unique Scotch whiskey from Campbeltown.
Right.
We're going to explore what makes it so special and, well, how a platform like Whisky.dk helps enthusiasts like you discover these really remarkable stories.
Exactly. Our mission today really is to pull back the curtain on Hazelburn.
Okay.
We'll dig into its fascinating history, those incredibly rare production methods that set it apart, and of course, distinctive flavor profile.
Yeah.
And all of this we'll look at through the insights provided by Whisky.dk. It's not just what this whiskey is, but why it holds such a special place in the world of Scotch. It's a journey into craftsmanship, legacy, and, well, exceptional taste.
So let's start with our guide for this deep dive then. Whisky.dk. Now, you might think of an online store as, just a place to click and buy, but our sources describe this one as Denmark's largest online and physical whiskey store.
Yeah.
That kind of suggests a dedication beyond just shifting bottles, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And this is where Whisky.dk really shines as a guide for us. What's particularly fascinating is their whole approach.
How so?
Well, they don't just stock whiskeys, they seem to curate them. They offer this really extensive selection spanning the globe, Japanese, Irish, American, even championing, the growing Danish whiskey scene.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not just whiskey either. Their physical showroom near Colding, it's this huge 500 square meter space, thousands of bottles, rum, gin, tequila, you name it.
Wow.
But what really elevates them, I think, is the commitment to education. They host tastings, masterclasses, stuff for beginners right through to serious aficionados.
Word.
They provide detailed tasting notes, background stories, often produce content. It makes discovering something like Hazelburn more of an experience, not just a purchase.
Yeah. So they're not just selling, they're genuinely like an educational hub for spirits.
Yeah.
That kind of platform is perfectly set up to highlight something as nuanced as Hazelburn.
Exactly.
And it's clearly worked for them too. Founded by Ulrik Bertelsen and Henrik Olsen. Just a small online thing back in 2012.
Yeah.
And they've grown significantly, won the Danish Gazelle Prize multiple times. That's quite prestigious.
It really is. It shows that deep understanding and passion they have makes them a great source for our deep dive today.
Okay, so with Whisky.dk as our guide, let's focus on the star, Hazelburn. The sources from Whisky.dk call it one of the most unique and handcrafted whiskey series from Campbeltown. That's a pretty bold claim, most unique. What makes Campbeltown itself, and then Hazelburn specifically, so significant in the bigger Scotch picture?
That's a really crucial question, actually, because Campbelltown's story is, it's dramatic, rise and fall, and now sort of a resurgence.
Right.
It was famously known as the whiskey capital of the world.
Yeah. Had
over 30 distilleries back in its Victorian heyday.
30?
Yeah. But then it suffered this huge decline. Lots of reasons: U.S. prohibition, economic downturns, maybe, some argue, focusing too much on quantity over quality back then.
Oh.
A lot of distilleries just shut down, and for a while the region almost kind of faded away. Hazelburn, through its parent Springbank Distillery, plays this absolutely vital role in keeping that Campbeltown heritage alive.
A living link, you could say.
Precisely. It represents the most elegant, the most refined expression from Springbank, and it's actively helping the region's modern comeback, ensuring that unique style isn't lost.
So it's more than just a whiskey. It's like a piece of blood history, connecting back to that whiskey capital time.
Definitely.
And the name itself, Hazelburn.
Yeah.
It's not just plucked out of thin air, right? It references an actual historical distillery.
That's right, yeah. A real distillery that operated right there in Campbeltown from the late 1700s up to the early 1900s.
So does using that historical name add something specific, like an expectation maybe, beyond just the nice historical nod?
I think it does, absolutely. The name is an homage, sure, but reviving it, that's more than just sentimentality. It's like a statement of purpose.
Okay.
The modern Hazelburn, it was actually reintroduced in 1997 by Springbank Distillery. And this is really key because Springbank is one of the last family-owned distilleries left in Scotland.
Right. That's quite rare now.
Extremely rare. And they're famous for their really uncompromising approach to tradition, quality. They often resist modern shortcuts and automation. So bringing back Hazelburn was a deliberate move. It was about resurrecting and honoring a specific style and name that had vanished that lighter, unpeated Campbeltown spirit. It ensures there's a diversity of flavor profiles from the region, completing the set alongside Springbank's lightly peated style and Longro's heavily peated one.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more, because it sounds like Hazelburn really stands apart, even from Springbank and Longro, made in the same place.
Yes.
What specifically makes its production method so distinct, so rare, particularly for Scotch?
This really gets to the heart of how, tiny choices in making whiskey can have such a profound impact on the final drink. Hazelburn has basically 3 key things that make it stand out.
Okay, number 1.
Firstly, and this is pretty striking for a Scotch, it is triple distilled.
Triple? That's more common in Ireland, isn't it?
Exactly. Very common in Ireland, but a genuine rarity in Scotland. Most Scotch is double distilled.
Why is that?
Well, the fear sometimes is that a third distillation might strip away too much character, leave the spirit too light, maybe a bit thin.
Ah, okay.
But Springbank, they masterfully use this third distillation to create this incredibly pure, light, elegant spirit that still somehow manages to keep its complexity and body. It's quite a skill.
So a very deliberate choice, going against the usual Scottish grain for a specific result. What are the other factors?
Secondly, it's completely unpeated.
Right, you mentioned that. Zero smoke.
Zero smoke whatsoever, which is a stark contrast to many whiskeys, including its siblings. Longro, like we said, is heavily peated. Even Springbank itself is lightly peated.
So this gives it a totally different base.
Precisely. By getting rid of any peat influence, Hazelburn offers this completely different, unadulterated flavor profile. It lets the natural character of the malt and the cask really shine through without any smoky overlay, like a clean canvas.
And the third differentiator, I think you mentioned something about craftsmanship earlier.
Absolutely. The entire production process is remarkably handcrafted.
What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, we're talking about manual operations all the way through.
Yeah.
No computer control, which is incredibly uncommon now in this largely automated world.
Oh.
This commitment to traditional, really labor-intensive methods means every step is meticulously managed by skilled people. It offers a level of attention to detail that's just hard to replicate otherwise.
That's amazing.
And adding another layer of sort of traditional authenticity, all the malt they use comes from Springbank's own floor maltings.
They malt their own barley on site.
Literally, yes, on the floor, which is an increasingly rare practice in Scotland nowadays. It gives them unparalleled control over their raw material and adds this distinct, often kind of serial-driven character to the whiskey.
That commitment to doing things the old way, the manual way, especially the floor malting, that's extraordinary today. It sounds like a deliberate choice to resist automation, almost choosing the harder path.
I think it's fair to say.
What are the downsides or challenges of keeping things so manual? And does this feed into why it's hard to find?
You've hit on a really critical point there. The downside for Springbank, if you want to call it that, is often just efficiency and cost, especially in a market driven by volume.
Right.
Maintaining floor maltings, for instance, is way more labor-intensive. It's weather-dependent, much harder than just buying malt from a big industrial plant.
Makes sense.
And triple distillation takes more time, potentially more energy. But for Springbank, these aren't really downsides. They're non-negotiables. They define their quality, their character.
So it limits how much they can make.
Exactly. This dedication to craft and tradition naturally limits the output. Hazelburn only makes up about 10% of Springbank's total annual production.
Only 10%.
Yeah. So that scarcity, combined with the unique manual production methods, directly contributes to its status. It's exclusive, it's highly sought after, it's not something you just find everywhere. So when you do get a bottle, you know you're holding something pretty special, where every drop reflects that intensive manual labor and that rich heritage.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Given everything we've heard, triple distilled, unpeated, all handcrafted, the big question is, what does that actually mean in the glass?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of taste experience does Hazelburn offer? Especially maybe compared to other Scotch whiskies people might know.
Well, you're in for a treat, truly. Hazelburn is really known for its incredibly creamy, delicate, and wonderfully light character.
Creamy and light.
Yes, that triple distillation results in this remarkably soft and rounded mouthfeel, almost like liquid silk. It's a sensation you won't easily forget. Whereas many Scotch whiskies might hit you with a heavier body or that hint of smoke, Hazelburn offers this pristine pristine elegance.
And the actual flavors.
On the palate, you typically find these lovely notes of sweet vanilla, rich honey, comforting toffee, often balanced beautifully by brighter, more uplifting citrus and maybe tropical fruit notes.
Oh, nice.
And depending on the specific release, you might even pick up subtle nutty notes or mineral undertones that add another layer of complexity. It's a whiskey that really shows off the purity of the spirit and the influence of the cask, rather than leaning on peat smoke.
It almost sounds like a palate cleanser in the Scotch world, offering a different kind of sophistication.
Yeah.
And you mentioned variations based on the cask type. It sounds like there's a whole range just within Hazelburn itself.
Oh, certainly. The Hazelburn 10-year-old is kind of the flagship, the core expression.
Right.
It's typically aged entirely in bourbon casks, and it's really celebrated for being fresh, vibrant, quite tropical fruit forward. It highlights that delicate, unpeated spirit. Think pear, apple, that creamy vanilla sweetness. A great place to start.
Okay, the 10-year-old. What else?
Then you have the Hazelburn Sherry Wood. This is usually an annual limited edition.
Ah, limited.
Yes, and this one's aged specifically in Oloroso sherry casks. It brings a completely different dimension. You're looking at deeper, richer berry notes, dried fruits like raisins, figs, and this wonderfully spiced, sometimes nutty finish. It's a much darker, fuller-bodied experience altogether.
Quite different then.
Totally. And then for a really rare and exceptional treat, there's the Hazelburn 21-year-old.
21 years. Wow.
Yeah. It offers this incredible, mature complexity. It's often crafted from a mix of casks, bourbon, sherry, sometimes port casks too. It provides this incredibly layered, nuanced experience. Really rewards patience, notes of maybe dark chocolate, old leather, a very sophisticated fruitiness. Each one is genuinely a distinct journey, showing how that same base spirit transforms with different wood.
So bringing this all together,
Yeah.
what does this mean for you, the listener, navigating the amazing world of spirits? What's the lasting takeaway from our deep dive into Hazelburn using Whisky.dk's insights?
I think it means that even in a category as rich, as established as Scotch whiskey, there are still expressions that genuinely push boundaries while at the same time deeply honoring tradition.
That's a nice balance.
It really is. Hazelburn is living proof that tradition and innovation can go hand in hand. They can create something elegant, refined, that emphatically stands apart. It's just a wonderful example of how one distillery with this unwavering commitment to unique manual methods can produce such distinct individual characters. It offers something really special for, well, almost every palate. It's a testament, really, to the idea that sticking to your principles and chasing quality often leads to something truly unique and highly valued.
What a journey we've had, diving deep into the world of Hazelburn, guided by the expertise found at Whisky.dk. We've explored a true handcrafted gem, haven't we?
We really have.
From its evocative history in Campbeltown, its unique production, triple-distilled, unpeated, right through to that delicate yet diverse flavor profile that really, really sings. It's a story of resilience, dedication, and a distinct character in every single sip.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, it really shows us how rich the stories behind these spirits can be. Understanding the why behind it, all the dedication, the rarity, the craft, it genuinely unlocks a whole new level of appreciation.
Yeah.
It turns a drink into, well, an experience, a piece of liquid history almost.
So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this. What other categories, food or drink, might be hiding similarly compelling stories? Stories of tradition, innovation, unique craftsmanship, just waiting for you to discover them. Perhaps it's time to explore a familiar category with new eyes and an open palate. Seek out those hidden gems and the fascinating narratives that make them truly special. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.